Thanks for joining us today at Unstuck Your Business Podcast.
You went into business with a passion to explore your skills and talents and show the world what you can do to contribute into our society and into our economic ecosystem. But a couple of years into the business and your drive and motivation has dwindled, and now you feel stuck.
When you find yourself at this crossroad of thoughts and emotions, how do you deal with it? In this podcast, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of entrepreneurship to help you unstuck your business. We are your hosts, Inés Nazario Vega from Business Essentials Virtual Assistants.
And Edith Duran from Reason Marketing. Welcome back to Unstuck Your Business, the podcast that dives into the real world struggles business owners face and how to break through them with clarity and confidence. Today, we're exploring one of the most underrated ingredients of entrepreneurial success, your circle. In this episode, we're talking about the power of a dynamic support circle and how the people around you can either elevate you or keep you stuck. We'll also dive into how mental resilience becomes even more critical when you're in a leadership role and scaling your business.
And joining us today is Gigi Santiago, mindset coach and founder of Optimal Mindset LLC. Gigi helps entrepreneurs and executives cultivate intentional habits that lead to both professional growth and personal fulfillment. Her work is rooted in mindfulness and the power of a growth mindset, helping high achievers move fast past overthinking, self-doubt, and burnout. Gigi, welcome to our podcast, and you are a return guest, and I'm so glad to have you. But for the benefit of our audience, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Well, thank you so much for having me again. I really enjoy our conversations, and thank you for having this podcast that helps entrepreneurs really continue the momentum in moving forward in their business. And so, as Inez said, my name is Gigi Santiago. I am an executive life coach. I help overthinking entrepreneurs stop thinking, start doing to achieve the success they crave, whatever that success looks like. It could be work-life balance. It could be more freedoms. It could be monetary. So whatever their success is, I help them to get unstuck and to move forward in their momentum and to create it again, or to really what I'm finding more is to look at what that success looks like. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes we have a mental image of what it looks like. Sometimes it's a number, and there's not the self-compassion to understand that it's a process to get to that number, or even, they realize that I really want to spend more time with my family. So those freedoms that are needed, how do you get to those freedoms? And so I work with clients to do that. And also I work with other coaches that can help elevate them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Gigi, something that comes to mind immediately when you're talking about the executive people that you work with is it gets lonely at the top. And sometimes you're not really at the top, but you know where you're trying to get there. And I know for myself, I've seen this quite a bit, that as I'm excelling in one area of my business, my friendship circle is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's not, and that's okay with me, because I'm not, the reason for it is maybe my values have changed, and it's just a natural part of things. But it's hard not to feel lonely when you're a high achiever and you're trying to excel. So, with that, I wanted to come back to our topic of today and talk about this foundation of a dynamic support circle, especially in this case where you might be feeling a bit siloed and lonely with your own thoughts.
Yeah, community is really important. So a support circle really should be that community that's going to support you, encourage you, cheerlead you, but also make you accountable. Be um, very real with you, authentic. So if you're surrounding yourself with people that are like, yeah, you're going to do it, it's wonderful, it's fabulous, but you don't have that person, like, that person in your group that says, have you really thought this through? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
know that you can get there, but man, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself because you said in this next quarter, I'm going to get, you know, I'm going to speak with 100 people that I meet in every networking event that I go to, and I'm going to get 50 clients from them. Is that realistic?
Mm-hmm.
And are you building, those relationships, in terms of networking? But again, to go back to that circle, it needs to be people that are going to be realistic with you, not naysayers, because Lord knows we have family for that, right? But we need people that are going to be realistic with us so that we don't become burnt out, we don't get discouraged, and then we start to isolate. Then we
Mm-hmm.
start to, oh, I don't want to talk about this because I'm not as successful as everyone else. Because we
Mhm.
always put our best foot forward, right? Oh, I'm doing well. I've got this going on. I've got doing that, what are the wins for this week? And sometimes it's like, so what have been some of the challenges this week? So that we, in being able to process what our world is, you know what? That was a challenge for me. So what's my lesson, in this challenge? What do I need to do differently? Or am I pursuing something that doesn't need to be pursued right now?
Yes.
We were talking about energies earlier, where am I putting my energy in? Because our circles, sometimes as solopreneurs or as small business owners, our circles get smaller or our friendships get smaller because we don't have the energy to expound.
Mm-hmm.
We're so busy in business, and let's face it, all of us have those friends that need a lot more energy than we have to offer. And the takers in that, it's really hard to keep giving, and I'm speaking to my people pleasers out there, that you want to
Yeah.
give and you want to give, but you just don't have the energy. And that's what leads to burnout. So it's really important. I have found that I learn best in community.
Mm-hmm.
I've always enjoyed small learning groups. I've always enjoyed collaboration. I've always loved to learn from the wisdom of the collective good.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
learning and listening and hearing what other people go through helps me to say, oh, I'm not alone. And especially solopreneurs, especially entrepreneurs that are, that have reached a level and yet they've spent so much time in their business and building that up that maybe relationships are gone, or are not exactly, with growth comes awareness, and with
Mm-hmm.
awareness comes change. And sometimes we have to change those groups.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a dynamic supportive group, the part of the dynamic is that it's living and breathing.
Yes. Yes.
And it's going to change as your business changes or as your lifestyle changes. It's going to change. The same people cannot feed you the support you need, and that's okay. It's not saying that that experience with them wasn't valuable, but it was
Mhm.
part of your growth.
Yeah.
Um,
I wanted to say something about that because I always have been operating from the motto that there's three circles around me. There's the inner circle, the people that I can trust, that I can be very transparent with, that I can just, they don't take energy and I don't take energy from them. We have a balance of energy going on. I think Edith is part of that group, and where we just can sit
Yeah.
down and relax and be transparent about everything that's going on in our lives, whether it's business,
Mm-hmm.
personal, and what have you. And then you have the second layer, the second circle, I call it, is the ones that you have there that can be business support, They can be just friendships to go out and hang out and have fun, but the level of intimacy and transparency is not there. It's just, you go to a certain extent with those people in your second circle. And then there's the third circle, which I call it the acquaintances, the people that you can hang out with. You neither are very transparent with them. There's only a limited time that you want to invest in that third circle. And you are right. This is a living and breathing type of dynamic, because some of the people in the inner can exchange at times and go into the second circle, and some people in the second may go into the inner, in and out. And I don't know how to explain that, but that's how I've seen my life go on. Like, there's people in my life that I've known for 25 years, and they live now in another country, and I cannot say they're in my inner circle because they're not there every day with my everyday challenge. But when we do reconnect, they have been probably in the third circle for a while because they are demographically and geographically distant. But if we get to reconnect, they can probably move back into the inner circle fairly quick. So it's an interesting dynamic, I think.
Yeah, it is. I think it in my experience, I'm always, I can't remember the word for it, but I'm like the butterfly that I'm in for many people, of what I have been told that made impact in their lives, but I'm not in that inner circle. I might have been in their life for a season, and there might have been a lot of growth during that season, but yet I'm not a daily factor in their lives, or maybe a shift that I help them create in how they think, their mindset. That's the daily part of it, but I personally am not in it. And so those seasonal people are just as important as the inner circle.
Absolutely.
Those acquaintances that really come along and make that impact, because then there's that new way of thinking, new way of looking at life, looking at what my goals are, how do I define success? What does that look like? What does it, feel like? What does it taste like? What are the smells of my success? And so that's why being open-minded to what your circle would look like, what is this community you're building around you look like, and allowing it to grow, allowing it, those people to come in and out of it that, not are only helpful to you and in your inner circle, that first layer, but also, how are you affecting them or impacting their life as well? So there's a lot of give and take in the ideas of creating a community and creating a circle that that helps elevate you. And I think that's really important. And it's not a me thing, because how do we elevate each other? I think it's more important.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And, while you were just talking about that, I was thinking, the people that I go kayaking and doing outdoorsy sports with is probably not the same people that I talk business and business ideas with. And, but they do have a role in the support that I need as a human being, and to help me with my business, because you do need those connections. Even though we don't talk about business when I'm kayaking with someone, they give me enough energy. They give me enough stamina to then go to my other circle and talk about business and creative ideas.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Edith, owner of Riza Marketing, a boutique marketing agency in Orlando, Florida, where we have a small but mighty team dedicated to helping service businesses dominate in the Central Florida market. We begin by helping you discover your own secret sauce. That one special something only you offer and your ideal clients love you for it. When you take pride in the service you offer and the experience you provide, but feel your marketing message isn't resonating with the right audience, we can help. When you're at a loss for creating advertising that evokes emotion and prompts action, we can help. Or if releasing viewer-worthy content with consistency is an ongoing challenge, we can help. Riza Marketing helps you define your unique flair and deliver creative content on a dependable schedule. Online marketing is easy when you have a team of pros by your side. If you're ready to make marketing fun again, then visit our website, rizamarketing.com. That's RIZA marketing.com. And schedule your free discovery call today.
Something else that comes to mind, Gigi, is the name of your company is Optimal Mindset. So, mindset is a big factor in deciding, what part of your circle has a void, who do you click with, can you easily confide in, and feel vulnerable in front of. But getting to that mindset is sometimes a challenge, because in a way you're also, or once you're past it, but you get to this point where you want to believe that you know everything and you shouldn't be needing help, and you shouldn't, be asking for help. If you're, the leader of this company that you've created, you should have all the answers. And of course, we all know here that's ridiculous, but that's the initial mindset that you're in, So can you talk a little bit more about that, like those phases of mindset and how to get past that to really get to that dynamic support circle you need?
I like that question, Edith. I really do like that question, because I do feel that as leaders, we want to have this appearance that we know it all, and that we don't want to be vulnerable in front of our business community. And I think that's an excellent question. So Gigi, help us out.
Well, it's the mindset of leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always try to find out, what does my client, how do you define leadership? Because if you're a leader that's going to tell people exactly what they have to do every hour of the day, that's a micromanager, not a leader. If you are going to be the one that, yes, I am the owner of this company and you peons will do everything, well, that's a boss, right? And nobody, we're from the United States. For the most part, the Western, at least this side of the world, that idea of being beholden to a king ain't gonna happen. So,
I'm sorry. We're very well we're laughing, right?
Really, truly not.
Without getting into the other topic, okay?
Exactly. So, so what is that definition of leadership? In my mind's eye, a leader is someone who's going to help you grow. A leader is going to empower the people around them. And a lot of times people don't want to be empowered because they think it's more work. But that's a topic for a whole nother day. So what is that idea of leadership? So I work with my clients, and even for myself, I have to stop and I said, do I really want to take on this role of leadership, how I define it, which is I empower others, I encourage them to challenge themselves, I challenge them, and I support them in however I can support them. So with that mindset of, okay, how are we going to be intentional in how we're going to, or mindful in how we are going to be the leaders? That's very helpful. And we don't have to, just because we're solopreneurs, that does not mean that we work alone. Thank God for automation. Thank God for virtual assistants. Thank God for other ways that we can delegate when we are a solopreneur. It's not only on us, but that's even where you need those dynamic groups, those circles, that community that's going to help you bounce ideas off of each other. I think this is crazy, but I want to take people skydiving for a business meeting. Have you thought it through? I would be the person, I'm fearful of heights. I'm not jumping out of the plane. You may have to push me out, but I'm not jumping out of the plane on my own, because of the simple fact that's just not, it's not an endeavor I've ever wanted. I'm not saying that that's not great, those people that want to do that, but I have no desire. Thank you very much. So, again, how am I going to lead in a way? How am I going to have a circle of folks that is going to tell me, Gigi, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. What are you thinking? What were you eating last night that gave you that hallucination? Something to that effect. Because I'm being a boss there. Yeah, everybody's going to jump out and I'll see you down in the ground. How can you have a meeting, right? So, what not an idiotic idea. That's a great team building if you want to do that, but really that's not a great place for a business meeting. So again, your circle should be able to help you with some things that are, using the smarter way of looking at, specific, measurable. Is it achievable? Is it relevant to what you're doing? Make it time bound. But then the ER of smarter, which I think for me, SMART goals, smarter goals, needs to be evaluated, and then it needs to be rewarded too. So the idea of all of these different aspects of a community is one of those pieces where you need the folks around you, the circle around you, to be able to say to all those different pieces of it, you say you want to do this, but your actions aren't showing it. So that accountability factor is really important. But being intentional too with the people you surround yourself with is okay. Not everyone is your cup of tea. And you're not everyone's cup of tea. I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. So with that understanding, I really need those people who are going to be honest with me, and really intentional, especially as I'm building my business. I want there to be intentionality there so that I can help you build yours. If you succeed, I succeed. That's something, that's one of my real core beliefs. If you succeed, I succeed, because I got to cheerlead you on it. I got to say, my friend, Edith has done some fabulous things, and I'm so proud of her because she has stepped out of her box and she's really embraced this new endeavor that she's chosen to do. Wow. That to me, I'm like dancing with you, and you should have those people that dance too.
Yeah. I'm curious about something, Gigi. There is this line of thought that says, show me the 5 closest friends and I'll tell you where you'll be in 5 years. That's very well used around the circle of motivational speakers and business speakers, and what have you. I do have my little conflict with that at times, but what is your thought process when someone will say, recruit the 5 people you want closest to you so you know where you're going to be 5 years from now?
It has to be organic as well. You may have inner circles that you were in, high school with, and they are your confidants. They are the people that, and your careers they're not entrepreneurs. They're not this, right? But they are honest with you, and they keep you grounded, and they love up on you when you need to be loved up on. And they are also hard on you when you need that little kick in the butt that says, what are you thinking, woman? So I think that in terms of mentors, in terms of business, that might be a good way to look. But when you're talking about circles or communities, you're in self-care, it's called your community of love. You need to have those people that are going to be very honest with you. You need to have those people that are, those distinct personalities, the cheerleader, the authentic person, the person that grounds you, the person that challenges you, the person that, allows you to dream, that you can just say anything to, and they're like, oh my goodness, that sounds wonderful. But then you also need the reality check person that's like, that sounds great for about 10 years from now. How can you start now to get there? Let's break that down to 5 years. Let's break that down to 3 years. Let's break that down to 1 year. And they also mentors, people that are a little bit ahead of you. Should be part of that circle. People that are, right there with you, that we're in the trenches together. And then also you're going to find that as you grow in your business and as you grow as that leader that wants to empower and impact other people, then you're going to have those people that are a couple of steps behind you, that you're mentoring. So but again, it's living, it's breathing, it's in flux. It's not just that. And I think that for me, I always use, instead of the people around me, what are the actions I have taken in the last 90 days? What has been the results? Are they my actions and the people that have surrounded me? Have they encouraged me to, in these last 90 days, to really live to what I said I wanted to do? I think that's a little bit more important to me.
So, quick question, maybe the last question for the sake of time. So, would you say that the 5 closest friend doesn't necessarily mean it's going to determine where you're going to be in 5 years, or do they have an impact on how you do business or how you live life and how you do everything else?
I think it's how you live life and how, you hold yourself. You have the 5 friends around you have the integrity that you have and hold you accountable to that. And, and the integrity is, I say in 5 years, I want to be here. Are they going to hold you accountable to that? That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make things happen for you. But if you don't make it that quote unquote magical goal, if you don't make it, they're still going to love up on you and say, hey, you still got time. That's the most important aspect of any type of circle community. You need to be allowed to be vulnerable. And if you have to be the leader, if you have to be the strong one all the time, that group is not serving you.
Yeah, I agree. There has to be a balance on how you exchange what's going on with each other.
One question that comes to mind, Gigi, as we're approaching wrapping up our episode, but how do you think most partners fall into your circle? Like, are they which part of the circle would you put?
Are we talking about romantic partners?
Yes, your life partner.
Okay. I think that they can be your cheerleader. You should be each other's cheerleader, but there also needs to be those boundaries that, as a woman, my husband, before we had a conversation, he would always listen to fix. And I would turn to him. I said, no, that solution is not going to work for me. And it wasn't until I think we went maybe 6 months with this. And I turned to him. I said, I don't need you to fix me. I need you to just listen to me. Allow me to verbally process this, so that then I can come to my own conclusion, because I love you, but every solution you've come up with is not going to work for me. I know that I can get through this. So with partners, I think it's really important that they can be a part of your circle, but they are not this is going to sound terrible, and I know I'm going to get pushback for it, but for some couples, depending upon the dynamic, they're not an integral part of that circle. Because of the simple fact that we have expectations from our partners that not necessarily in business, it is it's fruitful. And so unless there are boundaries and conversations that have been had, because sometimes, I hate to say it, but my partner sometimes is part of my frustration. And I need to speak to other people so that I can let that frustration out in a healthy way, to be able to look at it and without going, Bronx on my husband, poor man, and just be, visceral with him. So again, it really is that's a really hard one, because there needs to be really, really good communication. And it needs to be seen as this is business, not personal. And many times it just doesn't happen. It just, I have not seen that be successful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. For our audience, we like to give our audience the 3 main takeaways from our discussion in the episode. So what would you say are the 3 main takeaways from this discussion?
For me, that any type of circle that you create needs to be vibrant, needs to be a living, breathing thing. It will grow. The second thing is that the circle will grow with you. So, and it's in flux all the time in terms of people will come and go, and that's okay. You don't have to mourn it, or you can mourn it for a little bit, but those change in relationship. And third, it's imperative that any entrepreneur, any business owner has a circle that's going to include people that are their cheerleaders, that ground them, that are authentic with them, people that will sit with you in silence, people that will hold your hand, hug you, but that people that want you to succeed and want you to become the creature that you are becoming. Your future self. You may have had a glimpse of that future self. Your circle's going to help you get there.
Well, thank you so much, Gigi. This has been a great conversation for sure. Where can our audience connect with you?
They can visit my website. I have a blog called Mindful Entrepreneur. My website is optimalmindsetllc.com. Come visit me there, connect with me either on social media. You'll find me. My website has all my information. I offer an initial call for anyone who's interested in awareness of, what may be keeping them stuck, and also offer a 30-day intensive that they can really begin to create habits that will lead to their intentional success. It takes 21 days to create a habit, but it takes 66 to 365 days to create a lifelong habit. So we begin with a 30-day intensive.
Well, thank you again, Gigi, and we hope to have you again perhaps in the near future about other topics that can help our small business community. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Gigi. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you. Let us know what you think about today's topic by leaving us a comment and a review of our podcast.
And if you found some value on the information shared in this podcast, please subscribe and share. And you can find us on our Facebook page, Unstuck Your Business, and join the conversation and engage with other entrepreneurs as together we help each other unstuck our business. Until next time.
Until next time.